right. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday.
Morning.
Jim and Becks back with our coffee. Jim, what you got over there?
It's that kind of morning so far where I had to get myself an extra large pumpkin coffee.
Oh.
So pumpkin coffee, less cream.
So my
Less.
question is, did you go with the oat milk this time?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's all right. Did you get the
It's
almond
all.
milk?
No, I actually just did cream.
Wow, look at you. Look at
I don't know
you.
what. I don't know why. It's like I actually do like their cream. I just do like half. I do half.
Yeah,
So, but I got the pumpkin flavor, so it's all good. So you got the oat milk?
I did. I have to tell everyone, Jim was so kind. He bought the coffee this morning for us for Tuesday with coffee. So, yes, I got my pumpkin with the oat milk, which is the new transition. And I'm not going to lie, I made one at home because it's going to be one of those days.
Yes, Becky. I have to admit something to you right now and to everyone.
Uh-oh.
So my coffee, I have my other cup out there actually, that's in my truck. There's a hat over it to keep it warm for later. So I'll be my second cup when I have to do my consult later. But when I went through the drive-through at Dunkin' this morning, so I have to admit, this morning when I went and I had my gift card to pay, and I said, how much for the order? And I said, do you still take the gift cards? And she said, not today. She said, your order's paid in full. I said, excuse me,
Aw,
the lady in front of you paid for your coffees. And
that's so sweet.
I was like,
Guys,
how awesome.
followers, people that join us for coffee, go buy a coffee for someone today, right? Pay it forward.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
So I offered to pay for the vehicle behind me.
It starts that train. I love it. I love it.
That's right. So, but she did say to me, she's like, well, she says it is close to $100. So I don't know. Maybe she said you may want it. She said, just remember it for next time. So I know this lady
$100. Wow.
yes, but I know this lady works in the morning too. So I'm going to make sure I also leave her a nice tip too, because that was so sweet.
That's very nice. Jim, did
So,
you hear the other amazing news this week?
um,
And I swear we did not script this out. We did not even plan this. We don't script this, team, just so everyone knows.
no, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I did.
Our book study's free now. Remember?
Oh, yes. Yes. So excited.
So for everyone out there that's tuning in, we have found a way to make this book study all year, all 4 books, free for you. So join us on Tuesday mornings on our recordings here. We'll post the syllabus. I don't want to say the syllabus. It sounds like I'm back in college, but we'll post our time frame for you, and just follow along with the downloadable questions. For those of you in our region that are doing this for wellness points, all you need to do is download the PDF with all the discussion questions, complete the discussion questions, and submit them. But everything else will be free. You can join us Tuesday mornings or whenever you want to catch up on this. For free. And we're excited to have everyone.
I agree, Becky. We're excited to have all of you. And at the same time, you get to have us. So we'll try to keep it as interesting as we can. I mean, at the same time, we try to tell a few jokes at the same time, but we try to keep it interesting. So
we're just so funny, Jim.
Again,
just
please join us. We're so looking forward. We're so psyched for this. So
yeah. So Jim, as you mentioned, again, we started trying to get to know each other with the community. You mentioned funny things. So you tell me, what fall food do you most look forward to?
That's a good question. Let's see. Now it's fall. I would say definitely the apple pie. I love apple pie, the pumpkin pie. So getting
warm with vanilla ice cream?
Even yet, or cinnamon ice cream is out right now too. So
I've never even heard of that.
Yes, they actually have cinnamon ice cream out. So if you have like apple pie with a little bit of cinnamon ice cream, or sometimes you mix it with cinnamon and vanilla ice cream, even better yet. Love it.
And my question is, do you make homemade apple pie or do you buy it? You buy it.
If I had the time, I would love to make the pie. However, I do buy it. So usually so far, probably the best apple store-bought pie I've seen so far is probably Sam's Club, because you get those huge apple pies, like with the crumb topping and everything,
Yeah.
like $8, $9, and it's like you could probably live on it for like a week or two easily. So
Yeah.
and my favorite drink, I have to say right now, besides the coffee, of course, last night I had myself a cup of cinnamon apple hot tea.
Oh,
And that was so delicious. I loved it. So
the
between,
tea's nice to calm down.
yes,
Right?
apple cider. My boys' soccer game was last night, so I took a cup of hot chocolate last night with marshmallows, so that felt good.
You drank all the hot drinks yesterday.
I did,
Coffee, hot tea, hot cocoa.
yes,
So
and some cold apple cider too. So and
there
water.
we go.
But so Becky, what's your favorite food?
Whew.
Fall.
I would have to agree. Like I go right to Thanksgiving when I think of fall food. I don't know. But this has nothing to do with fall, but it has to do with the time of year. So I
Okay.
actually am a huge in the fall. My husband and I, because he's a men's soccer coach at Lycoming College, and we're just so busy. So every Friday night in the fall, it's like a pre-game tradition for Saturday. Granted, they're not playing right now because of COVID, but we always get pizza on Friday nights. So in the fall, I always look forward to pizzas on Friday nights. Not pizzas, we only eat one, but yeah, it's not really a fall food, but I associate fall with Pizza Friday. So we don't really do that in the spring and everything.
I love pizza. Pizza is like one of my favorite foods,
Right?
and I told you. So my wife and I had our first date night in months on Sunday.
Oh, yes. This is going to go into our overbooked. Is this one of your reasons how you felt like helped yourself feel not so overbooked this week?
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
Let's hear
So when
what
you
you guys
mentioned
did.
when you mentioned the pizza, so we so not to feel overbooked, my wife and I we had a date night on Sunday, so didn't have the boys, and so we went to a concert in Bloomsburg to see For King and Country, and so it was a drive-in concert. So this way, social distancing, got to hear some great music, enjoy the nice fall weather. But they had a couple of concession stands for food in that. So what my wife and I did was we got a pepperoni pizza, and we
Mm.
the car before the show started. So we recreated one of our first dates because we went
Oh,
to the game and we got a pizza and ate it in the car before the hockey game.
you're such a romance.
It
Um,
just happened. So it's all
Jim,
good.
Jim, for our listeners and a part of our book club, are there other concerts that they're doing? The drive-in concerts in Bloomsburg, right?
Yes, I think that was the only one. But my wife and I, like we try to go like sometimes to a different show, but now they're starting to do some drive-ins. There is another one at a church in like Sunbury in October 30th that we're going to go see. Stars Go Dim, and it's just you could sit in your car, you could sit outside your car. It's rain. It's either sun or rain or snow. It's still going to happen. So so we can sit outside the car and watch the show. We could sit inside the car. We could be all bundled up and have blankets, but it's just something different to get out of the house. So it's like we try to find those ways. What can we do to just I don't
Not
know.
feel overbooked,
That's right, not feel overbooked. So to just
right?
take those time for us, so not feel over.
Right.
How about you, Bex?
So I actually took some time. So as you know, I'm not from the area. I'm from Lancaster County. So I love my Pennsylvania Dutch food. And I've been like really craving. I saw one of my friends on Facebook post like homemade chicken pot pie, Pennsylvania Dutch style. And so on Sunday, I spent like the whole afternoon trying to do it. And it was so fun. And I've never ever made homemade noodles before, but I did it and it was so good. So I was really excited. It was nice to just sort of, forget about everything and just, I love cooking. It helps me distract my mind. So I made homemade chicken pot pie, Pennsylvania Dutch style. So
That
good.
sounds
There's no leftovers.
delicious.
Sorry, Jim. I'm sorry. But yeah,
Thanks. Tempt
it
me.
was a lot of fun. Yeah. So we did that and we took our dogs to the SPCA fundraiser for Dogtober. So that was in Muncie. So good times, good times. But
Nice.
Jim, let's jump into this chapter. We're talking
I'm
about.
ready. Are you ready?
I'm always ready to talk about books, but especially personal growth books. But we're talking about the foreword and the introduction.
Yes.
Next week we'll talk about chapter 1. But what stuck out to you with Find Your Why?
Well, I was going to say, I think we did talk a little bit about the prelude last week, just a little bit.
Yep, a little hint of it.
And so from going into that, I kept thinking about last week about running the race and who we're going to take with us along the race. So I think about my journey in life and who is going with me for this journey. And going into that, so finding my why, going into into the introduction, I started thinking about, I read, one of the first things I thought about was the questions that were asked, meeting the guy on the airplane, asking these questions, so what, why? And at first I read this, I'm thinking to myself, this is so rude at first. But then I thought, no, it's not rude. We're trying to help build from that. So it's like not just one answer, but it's helping to dive deeper in a little more of the higher order thinking skills that we really do not do enough of. So it's like when we start asking these questions, it really gets us thinking. And when we get thinking like this, it helps build our purpose even more. I love it. So that's why I said, as I was reading it, you know what, we can think it. Thinking it is one thing, but until we actually say it or act on it. So of course, one of my favorite quotes from this section, if it's okay, Becky, I'd like to say it right now.
Go ahead. Let us know the page though, so we can follow along.
Yes, so on page 5, it is highlighted in red, and it says,
oh, yes.
Your vision is only actionable if you say it out loud. If you keep it to yourself, it will remain a figment of your imagination. So, you know what? I can have these dreams, I can have these thoughts, but until I start to say it or start to act on it, it can be just a dream. So it's like, what's my purpose now? So.
Yeah. So Jim, tell me, what's your vision? Put it out there. Say it out loud for us.
My vision.
Putting you on the spot.
All right, all right, here we go. So my vision, I kept thinking about as far as like leading from last week, establishing far as what we were to what we are doing now. So we started to talk about our life journey and bringing us to where we're at right now. So it's like, what purpose can I serve to others? So that's my question. What purpose can I serve to others? How can I make this happen? So I've learned in my 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years now since I started at Blast, is that I love working with students. I love working with adults. I love working with teachers, paraprofessionals, administration, educationals, professionals, all of us. So it's like, sometimes I feel like my words may not be helpful enough, but in some ways in a lot of ways they are. So it's like, what kind of support can I be to others? So I find myself being a support in so many different ways. And I'm realizing just being that support, education-wise, and in a lot of ways, professionally, personally, this is my role. I feel.
And I think it's interesting, Jim. I'm gonna because I've been doing a lot of studies with Simon Sinek for I don't know, like 5 years now. It's interesting because you started with your what, then you said your how, but you haven't yet defined your why. Which again, we talk about this all the time. Your why is always evolving. But why?
Yes.
Why is it important for you to support, Jim? Why? I'm going to make it awkward right now. Why is it important to support for you?
I feel like it's my role. It's my gift. It is my calling. It is my passion. It's what I enjoy doing. And it makes me feel good. It makes me wake up in the morning and thinking, I'm ready to start the day. Who can I support today? And it makes me feel good when I can go home or driving in the car or like thinking about the connection that I made. And when I think about that, and over the years, to where I was, to where I am now, and where I continue to go, to continue on this journey in my race and who I'm taking along the way. You know what I mean? I feel like this is my why.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, and I know sometimes the whys get super personal. I have a couple of whys with different aspects of my life that are pretty
Yes.
personal. And I know you and I've talked about, we're not going to put that on full blast, either one of us. You and I know it, but we talk about, last week, we talked about having your accountability partner, having someone that you can, and we talk about it in the discussion guide,
Yes.
get with someone and really get deep with them, someone you trust. And I know, Jim, you know my why, the root of it. And I know yours, but get with someone so that you can really get to the root of why. And I can share this one, because I've spent a lot of time, but when I talk about teachers and the reason why I stepped into this role after I did a lot of reflection and knowing, taking that step from the classroom to working with adults, I started realizing, when I was in my 5th year teaching, and I shared this last time, I was just in such a rut, and I never want that for a teacher. And I work with some younger teachers as well, in their first year, second year teaching, who say, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not the best that these students could have. And that, like, to me, is my why. Like, that's me. That's someone saying to me, Becky, you need to get in there and help them. And so for me, it's my personal experiences, and often it is, that really move your why into action. So you and I have discussed, and we'll continue in this group every week practicing our why, so what, why, but you bring up a good point about happiness and fulfillment. So I'm going to transition here because we only have about 5 minutes.
Yes.
My biggest thing, now that I've done a lot of the studying with the why with Simon Sinek, he brought up this point about happiness versus fulfillment.
Yes.
And now I tend to be an overthinker, in case you didn't know it. I'm sure tons of people know that about me. But now I find myself questioning, is this happiness or is this fulfillment? And that's even deeper than that why to me, because I've spent so much of my life trying to think about what makes me happy. And we talked about last week, sometimes the happiness is right in front of you and we just think it should be something big and elaborate. But the quote on page 7, happiness comes from what we do. Fulfillment comes from why we do it. And Simon Sinek, and, they say that fulfillment is deeper than the happiness. Fulfillment is what lasts. And so the happiness is your what and your how, but the fulfillment is your why. And so I think about why I do what I do, and the ultimate goal in life is fulfillment, right? And so
Absolutely.
you need a balance of what makes you happy. Like mint chocolate chip ice cream with M&Ms make me happy. But you need the fulfillment in order to really encourage your happiness. I don't know, that it was so deep for me.
I love what you just said, and you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. And I kept thinking about how happiness, like we always say, and it's quoted in the book on page 6, and it says, but happiness is temporary. The feeling doesn't last. So we could be happy about something, like you said, like you could be happy, like I could be happy about pumpkin coffee. Next year, I may not like it anymore. It doesn't make me happy anymore. So that could be temporary. But when I think about, maybe being a teacher can make me happy one year, and then after that, maybe I want to do something different. But no, I've enjoyed my years as a teacher. I loved my years as a teacher. I'm still a teacher. I'm just teaching in different ways. And that makes me feel fulfilled.
And Jim, you bring up a really good point, because I know you're semi like me with the goal setting and everything. And so you're a runner, for example, we running races, or if I train for a half marathon or things like that. I haven't done that in years. Let me put that disclaimer out there, but I've done a couple. You train for this race, you do it, you get this adrenaline rush and you're happy. But then you know what it's like after you hit a goal. Sometimes if it's not tied to fulfillment and tied to your why, you crash and you go through this, I don't want to say a depression type of thing, but your happiness dwindles. And so I think it's really important that we start living a life where we're intentional and aware that your happiness is tied to your fulfillment. And if it's not, I feel like that's how we get through our valley.
Yes.
Are we
We go
doing it
through,
just to achieve, or are we doing it for the why?
or sometimes like we may be doing it for others, but really we need to be doing it for ourselves. I think about, like you said, the waves. So like we could be on a happiness wave. So like, and I do run and I have my spurts. There are times I love to run. It makes me happy. And there's times I'm like, gosh, I cannot do this right now. I haven't really, honestly, I have not ran since the spring because I ended up getting plantar fasciitis. So
Yeah,
that's painful in
hurts.
both feet. So, but I love to walk. Every single day I love to walk. I take my dogs
Right.
for, so it's like now I'm starting to build those steps to start building in like a jog again, start to build it back up again. But if I'm going to run, I'm going to run because I love it and I enjoy it, not because I have to something to prove. So
Yeah. I think it's just great points. And before we sign off for this morning and cheers our coffee, I want to just bring up in our chapter one, or not chapter one, I'm sorry, in our discussion questions for this, we do a call to action at the very end. And so that call to
yes.
action for this week is just being intentional between happiness and fulfillment and the things that you do every day. And in the classroom, in the workplace, or at home, like whatever you're doing, whoever you're with. But also, I think it's important to mention, don't be afraid right now and freak out if you don't know your why, you're not set in your why, you don't feel like you're in happiness. I think it's important that we understand that we're on this self exploration and journey together. Like Jim says, the race
Mhm.
together. Um, and yeah, it's just a journey. So take
I
time to explore it.
great ideas, Becky. Because I do remember too, it was like when you said about as far as it's okay if you don't know your fulfillment right now, that's okay because you know what, you're going to find that in time. So there's no set time limit. So like I said, just to be mindful of like what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled. And throughout this book, we're going to continue to learn more about ourselves and about each other, and continue to run this race. We're all in this together.
Wonderful. And I'm just going to leave, we're going to leave them with the idea of, on our discussion sheet, we have at the end, we give you, I think it's 4 or 5 questions with some quotes.
Yes.
But then at the very end, we ask, what questions do you have? Like, what resonated with you? So in order for this book study to work and to build this community, please share on our hashtag, are you overbooked? Question mark. And the R and the O are capitalized. Share out a question for the community to answer. We know it'll take some time to build this community, but hopefully we'll get some traction, and we can all start learning together and growing together to
Yeah.
make the best versions of ourselves. So, Jim, let's leave them with,
Nice.
what's your why for today? It's cloudy today and foggy.
Oh,
Why'd you get out of bed this
yes.
morning?
Well, I originally got out of bed because the dog started making the noises like he was sick. So I'm like jumped out of bed. I took him outside, and then from there, and it was same thing. It was dark. It was gloomy. It was cloudy, and I thought, wait a minute. Today. I have meetings with Becky. I'm doing this segment with you today, and it's like I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the day. I'm ready. It's like, what kind of purpose and what can I do to help support someone today and continue to grow? How about you?
Great.
It was a dark, gloomy morning. So
It was so dark for so long. I mean, I get up and do my workout so that I can like ground myself a little bit. My why was, I was excited to, my Tuesday, the coffee chats are always fun for me. And we're continuing to move in a great direction here. I love working with our colleagues, and
yes.
it's fulfilling for me to be here. So, yeah, just continuing, and I'm with my little this afternoon, or this evening. So excited.
Mhm.
But awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
Jeff,
Thank
cheers.
you,
Or I
everyone.
called you Jeff. Jim, cheers.
That's okay, Becky. Cheers, everyone. Whatever you're drinking today, whether it's coffee, tea, milk,
Hot cocoa.
hot cocoa, and whatever you're eating today, and whatever you're going to do today, make that time for you. Enjoy your day. Find your why, and
We'll see you
thank you.
next week.
All right. See you all. Take care. Bye.